So hello and welcome again to Let's Talk SEO. So we all know as SEOs, and even someone who's very new to SEO already knows that quality matters. But I've said this many times, and I'm going to say this once again. An algorithm or a machine cannot simply determine the quality of an article or an item being sold online. And so it has to rely on quality signals, which means that in order to know that a product or a service or a piece of content on a website is high quality, the search algorithm relies on a few different signals that are sent back to it from that website and also from users like their browsers. And so in this video, I'm going to go into Google's algorithm and try and dissect exactly what's going on based off of Google's warehouse API leaks. Now, I know this is a controversial topic. A lot of people have been saying that these are not leaks and they're not something that Google would allow for it to leak. And my argument there is all organizations at some point, they have a leak, even the US military. And so just because there is a leak or there are some documents that are leaked does not mean that that organization can't be trusted, or if it's a bad organization or they don't know how to run their business, because the human factor is often the weak link in the chain. And so many times things will get leaked deliberately too by the organization themselves. And sometimes it's just leaked because there's a weak link in the chain. And so in this case, I think the leak is not even complete, and so there are a lot of missing links. And so when we go into and I start showing you the APIs and discussing each API that's been leaked in detail, I just want you guys to know that there are a lot of holes in this. There are a lot of things like NSR. We have no idea what NSR is, so we have to assume that the NSR is normalized site rank, which is a comparison algorithm which compares your site to other sites in your niche or those that are competing for the same spot in SERPs. And so we don't know exactly how it works. And that's something that we have to just try and figure out based on all the other factors that we're looking at from all the other APIs, which is why making these videos have taken time. We have to go through a lot of these APIs manually to try and figure out exactly what's going on, if we can make sense of stuff. And where I've not been able to make sense of stuff, I mentioned that I've not been able to make sense of stuff, and you have my personal anecdotal and evidence presented and my own theories presented. But as always, that's not something that you should take at face value. With SEO, you should be testing throughout the time that you are offering your services as an SEO. And so at any given point, I have like at least 24 websites where I'm testing different things and I'm testing different ideas. But a lot of the stuff like NSR can be tested. There's no way. Now, if you guys have an idea how to test NSR, let me know in the comments below, and we'll cut to my screen here so that we can start the video. So everyone who's watching this video and people who have subscribed to my channel know that site quality is a really big deal. It's also a point that's highly controversial. You can't get two SEOs to agree on the same thing. But I think all SEOs kind of agree that Google is looking at a few different signals when it comes to assessing site quality. And so the warehouse API gives us a kind of insight into how the site quality thing works. Now, I'm just going to say here that it's not the entirety of the quality system. And also, the quality system is consistently updated by Google. And so the warehouse APIs, as of making this video right now, may be outdated, but it still gives us insight into how those factors are combined to assess the site quality of a specific site and how that site quality is then compared to the quality of other competing websites, which is where the whole NSR thing comes in, which I discussed in my previous video. So if you've not watched that video, make sure that you go back and watch that video, which is why I'm making these in parts, and it's part of the main playlist when it comes to, it's part of the main playlist for warehouse IO API leaks. So you can go there and watch all the videos in their entirety. So it's important to clarify here that the site takes into account all pages on the website as a whole. And so this is not a page level quality thing that we're going to talk about today, but it's a site quality as a whole. Thus, if you understand what Google deems as being high quality, that will help you rank your site higher, at least theoretically. So there are a few APIs here that we'll discuss. The first thing is the UGC discussion effort score. Now, this is kind of strange. So this is mainly user-generated content, which identifies the work that's put into mainly forums like Reddit or Quora or article comments. The key term or the operating term here is effort. Now, we don't know how Google is identifying effort. So how Google would know, how would an algorithm know how much effort was put into a specific comment? That's something the API doesn't tell us. That's something the leak doesn't tell us. That anyone at Google doesn't tell us. But testing shows that if your comment or whatever you've posted on a forum is highly detailed and it's kind of long-winded, Google kind of thinks that that's a high effort piece of content. The next API is product review P demote site. Now, we all know that a lot of the content sites as of late have been demoted. So, especially if you're trying to rank for, the best hairdryer, you'll have Reddit ranking, you'll have Quora ranking, you'll have a few other forums ranking, but none of the review sites unless you're a giant. So even though it's for promoting products, the fact is that I think this algorithm is working towards demoting products. That said, I still see some product websites ranking, but they're really big brands and they're websites that have been around forever. And so as you'll see in consecutive videos, Google actually has an algorithm for those sites. Make sure that those sites kind of rank always. And so the algorithm does not apply to those sites. Let's just say that. So, and then we have the exact match demotion. So it says exact match domain demotion. It's mainly looking at exact match domain site abuse. So here the demotion of the exact match domain, it signals the algorithm to demote a site if they are abusing EMDs. But I'll tell you, EMDs work as well as they did a decade ago. I don't think this API is working as you would like it to think that it's working. It's not demoting exact match domains. I have a few exact match domains on which I've not done any work, and they're ranking very well. And it's just because they're an exact match domain, it's why they're ranking well. And there's a reason for that the API doesn't go into, but it's the way the search itself works. And so when you have an exact match domain, Google sees that as your brand domain. So the exact match actually becomes your brand. So if you have a domain like Best Plumbers in Florida, that becomes your domain. That becomes your brand. So Best Plumbers in Florida is now your brand. And so the way that works is that Google will see that exact match as part of your brand. And so when people searches for that, Google thinks that people are searching for your brand, which is why the EMD works and which is why your website will rank. The next one, then there are site-wide elements, which if triggered can tank your entire site. So you've got the NSR confidence. Again, NSR confidence score is converted from the NSR quality data. Again, NSR is something that we have not been told what it is. The leak does not go into exactly what NSR thinks. We have a theory on what NSR is, and it's kind of based off what we're seeing in the consecutive APIs that we've gone through. So the other one is low quality. So it says SV2 low quality score converted from, again, this has been derived from the NSR. The nav demotion, which is also converted from the quality boost, nav underscore demoted dot boost. And then you've got site authority, which is converted from the quality NSR, site authority applied in QS star. So these are all being derived primarily from the NSR data. So if you don't understand what the NSR data is, then you can go and watch my previous video, which goes into it theoretically. But the NSR is mainly a confidence score, and it's converted from the quality NSR data. So NSR is what we assume is normalized site rank, which I explained in a previous video. This score is set by the algorithm, and we think this is more of a measurement of your site against other sites. So all sites are given a score. As you've seen in a previous video, the API also has said that they are using PageRank. So the internally PageRank has been used, and what I think here is, it's his PageRank, but your PageRank at a website level that's then compared to the PageRank of other sites. So in other words, you've got a high trust. If your website can be trusted more compared to other sites, that would theoretically mean that you rank. And then you have the low quality SB2, low quality score. So this appears again to have been extrapolated from the NSR value. And so if you have a low NSR value or a low score, and if the score is too low for a site, then it will be flagged as being low quality. This will mean that the website will not rank. Often this is the case with sites that, people come to me, they have a site that's indexed, but for some reason it's not ranking. It's usually because they have a low NSR score, which Google then stamps with a low quality score. You then have the nav demotion, which has been converted from the quality boost nav demoted dot boost. Not in the API, but we think that this has something to do with nav boost. Again, it's one of those things that the API doesn't explain. There's no related API. There's no associated data, but we assume that it somehow calculates how much the drop of the site, how much a site should drop based on its overall related values. Again, I keep saying this, that Google is a comparison search engine. Well, this is what I'm talking about. So Google is consistently comparing your website and all the signals from your website to all the other websites in your niche or which they are trying to rank for the same terms that you are ranking for. And so that comparison is ongoing. And so every little bit and every little step you take will help you improve your rankings because it's sending the right signals that Google wants to see from your site. The next one is the site authority. And site authority is also converted from the quality NSR. So site quality is applied in Questar. So Google has officially denied that they have a site quality metric, but the API kind of shows that they do. And we have seen that site quality does matter, but it's not in the way that we think it matters. So it's not like if a very well-written article that has all the information on it that you're looking for will necessarily attribute to your site being seen as quality if 90% of your other articles are spammy or low quality or short of content. So the authority in this case is being extrapolated from the NSR value, and it's being applied to your overall website. So again, this comes down to how good your technical SEO is. Personally speaking, my experience shows if your technical SEO is on point, you're more than halfway to being seen as a quality website. And I'll just say that for now because I don't want to go into a tangent and talk about technical SEO. So what does this mean for your site's quality? A major part revolves around what users do on your site. And so it's user interaction. This will explain why some sites simply aren't doing so well despite their content being great. You can have great content, but if people don't want to stick around on your page, they don't want to read your site, or they don't trust what you're putting out, then it will not rank well. So there is also the possibility of a website being demoted for multiple other reasons, most of which are derived from NSR. So great quality content does not necessarily mean that you will rank if all the other signals are not in line and they're not sending the right signals back to the algorithm. And then there was this question I always asked, many SEOs have asked, was Panda reintroduced or was it revised? And then we have the baby Panda V2 demotion algorithm, or API as I must say. There were rumors that Google had updated its Panda algorithm a few years back. I remember working on trying to recover some sites that were hit by Panda years ago. And the documentation about Panda and Panda's algorithm was kind of not clear. And so there was a lot of experimentation that we did to try and figure out what Panda was doing. And still, it wasn't entirely clear. And now it's clear that what Google has, it has a sort of baby Panda that works alongside the Panda. So the baby Panda was introduced years after Panda, and it kind of puts in a double penalty. So if you've been hit by the baby Panda, you will be hit by Panda and vice versa. Then there's also the API topic embeddings version data and scamness and unauthoritative score. And so Google is measuring clicks from Chrome users. Now, I have reason to believe that Google is also measuring clicks from all other browsers, especially ones that are using Chromium. So if Chromium is the basis for a browser, then most likely Google is measuring not only click signals, but also time on site and also how users are interacting with the site. And so based off that data, Google tries to measure if the website certifies or meets the expectations of the user that's searching for that keyword. The topic embeddings version data API, this part of the algorithm mainly absorbs topics from the website. This is needed for the search engine to make sense of the topic so that it can retrieve relevant ones when users demand. Again, I'm going to say Google doesn't really understand the text on your page, unlike what many SEOs try to tell people. I think Google just looks at entities on the page and tries to make sense of the information based on the entity and a few words before and after the entity. And I have some testing to prove that that's the case. I will put forth a case study because I am testing this on a few websites, but also based on other parts of the leak API, I have reason to believe that Google is looking at maybe like 5 or 6 words before and after the entity, try and figure out if it is in line with what searchers are looking for, or if the topic is relevant to the search term. Then you have scamness, and this is the scam model score. So this information, well, the information about this API isn't very clear. However, it could be that it's an algorithmic measure, as it measures a model to determine if it's a scam. I think it's probably, it's a measure of how much a website it can be trusted versus it being a scam. And I think it's less about it being a scam as compared to it getting a lot of spammy links. So if the website is receiving a lot of spammy links, then Google might see the site as a whole as a spam or scam website. So again, since it's not clear, I'm not going to go too much into this, but I think it does factor into the quality score as a whole. And then you have the unauthoritative score, and this is the opposite of the authority score. So this is possibly based on a combination of content quality, user experience, originality, and links. So the funny thing here is that we have the Panda emotion. Its function here is to determine user experience. So interestingly, I see many websites being hit by the original Panda, and then they also get hit by the baby Panda. So, and usually it's because Google sees it as an unauthoritative website, and Google is just trying to rank authority sites. There's a way to hack authority, but yeah, it keeps changing. So what does this mean for you? Well, this all alludes to the need for ensuring that users have a great experience. So that's number one. Number two is make sure that you have topical authority. And again, I'll plug my topical authority service over here. There's a link in the description to my website. You can buy my topical authority service where I map the topical authority of a website, or I map the topical authority of an industry, so that you can then, based on that, generate your own content and rank and be seen as an authority. And the key here is you don't need to write 5,000 pages. Be seen as an authority. You just need to cover the main pillars of that team or of that industry to be seen as an authority. Thus, if your website is hit by an algorithm, it would stand to reason that it would have been hit by multiple algorithms. And so you don't want to be hit by even one algorithm, because then say it would be an in-depth evaluation to figure out what algorithm hit it, what part of the algorithm has hit the website, and then based on that, how to recover the site. I get many people that buy my audit services, and I try explaining to them, that usually it's not an algorithmic hit that they're seeing, but it's more a problem with their technical SEO. And once they fix that, their website kind of bounces back, or at least gets on the right track to ranking. Google is making it harder to recover, because if you have 2 penalties that are very similar from 2 different algorithms, it becomes harder to recover a site. And I've seen this is because it's just becoming harder and harder day by day without a thorough audit of the site. So the recovery from Panda, baby Panda, HCU, etc., this is all becoming extremely hard without a proper audit and without an in-depth audit. And the best way to do this is to segment your website into segments of 3 or 4 pages, and look at each segment as an entity in itself, and see if it satisfies user intent, and to see that if it meets the expectation of the user. And that would then apply to your entire site. So if you do this for every page, the quality score of your entire site will go up, which improves your odds of recovering from an algorithmic hit. All right, guys, I hope you guys liked the video. As always, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.